Well, hey there, folks. John Duffin here, Duffin Media. Welcome back to your latest, newest, coolest, well, you be the judge if it's the coolest, new live training series with moi. This series, right? And I'm thrilled to be able to be here. If you're watching me on Facebook Live, if you're watching me on LinkedIn Live or YouTube Live, we make it easy for you to interact. And in addition to showing you love and gratitude, what we get to do here is make sure that you are included. So, again, if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn Live or YouTube Live, drop a note in the comments. Whatever platform you're seeing me, drop a note so that I know that you're here. And if I know that you're here, then we can interact a little bit more personally, make this a little bit more customized to make certain that you're getting what you need. Here's the thing, right off the bat, as everyone now, or I'll speak for me, but of people that I know, me included, where it is a case of you feel like you're swimming upstream already. And if you feel that way, I'm going to tell you this. If you feel that way, you're not alone. Swimming upstream. Here's what I mean. In the midst of New Year, New You videos, and here's what I'm doing, and here's what I'm going to do, and blah, 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 blah. They are critical, right? But is there anyone that's watching me right now that doesn't feel quite as caught up yet? Maybe you're not at the stage that I was a little while back, where all I felt like I was doing was dusting pumpkin bread crumbs off of myself. Not you? Just me? All right, fine. Well, maybe it was just me. But what I will then say is this. If it's a case where you're feeling a little bit more caught up, but you're feeling as if other people are escalating or are so far past you, here's why I'm here today. It's to let you know, I'm not here to tell you, don't worry about it, right? That we all should be upping the ante here. This is the perfect time of the year, but this is not the give up video. Right? How many times have you seen that sense of, what do they call it, giving up within 2 weeks, and we're damn close, right? And I'm looking at my own calendar. Oh my God, it's the 14th. So we should be there, right? Give up Tuesday. We are not promoting give up in this video series. I promise you. So what I want to be able to do today is this, and it's always quick, easy, usable tips that you can take to your next business conversation and be able to speak more clearly, to be able to get what you want, find what you need. That sounds like the mantra from my podcast, because it is. So what I want to be able to focus on today is this, what we're calling this series, right? Get your rear in gear. I'm sorry, get your year in gear, but you kind of get the gist of that, right? So that's where we are. Get your year in gear and everything else too. So here is what I want to be able to say. If you feel like you're floundering, the whole focal point of today is as follows. You want to be speaking. We talk about optimizing your communications by leveraging your voice. Here's specifically what I mean. That experience and confidence go hand in hand. So whether you have the experience, whether you are uniquely qualified to be speaking, or whether you have learned something, when you are coming from a place of education and or experience, you're coming from a place of confidence. So here's your first quick tip of the day. Why mess around, right? We'll get right to it. We're going to call it stick to the plan. What do I mean? Did you build a 2025 plan? Me? I did, as a matter of fact. Proud of me, huh? I'm not trying to win an Attaboy award, but what I am saying is this. I did build a plan. There are really good people that are quite proficient at this. I've worked with some of the best in the world, and I'm going to tell you, there is nothing like having a plan. Flailing, being unclear, unsure, don't. Plans and goals are two different things. Okay. So, goals. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have that. But they're great. Have them, have them, have them. But a plan is how you're going to get there. All right. So, I'm not going to spend today focusing on helping you to build a plan. Here's what I will say. Put a note in the comments if you are looking for help. I can guide you to a couple of people that I think are extraordinary in regards to helping individuals build plans. My own plan, I worked with All Star Coaching's Dave Scatcherd, and it was over a 2-day event. It had to have been 6 solid hours of pulling through all sorts of minutia. But I would guide you to people that are good, right? That's not what I'm going to focus on today. What I'm here to ask and remind you is the following as you're communicating, right? If you didn't build a plan, build one. Build one. That's it. Build one. Stat. ASAP. Find some free time. Walk away from the situation. Don't stop what you're doing, but you have extra available time. Find it and build a plan, okay? But let's say you didn't build the plan. That's okay. Here's today what we're going to focus on. This is it, right? In terms of speaking, again, coming from a place of clarity, education, experience. When you speak in any of those 3 points, and I'll repeat them: clarity, education, experience. What happens as a result? Folks, if you're here, drop the note in the comments, and if not, I'll help you too. If you're watching live, that is great. If you are on the replay, that is awesome. By the way, see all the questions? The multiple questions from my man, Matthew Lesko. Matthew Lesko, the question mark guy, that's typically what his branding idea is. I just interviewed Matthew on my podcast, Your Message Received, and it's a damn good episode. He's great. Here's what I was going to say. You could ask yourself 3 questions and you would be in a better place, right? What are those questions you could ask yourself? By the way, it makes more sense when I click on the comment before I scream, yo. Allie Connor, my greatness friend, who is greatness personified. Make a plan and put it in writing 100%. But let's say 100%, yes. No reversal on that, 100%. But say you didn't do it yet. Say things got away from you. Things got out of hand. That's okay. Here's a real fast way that you could handle this. Ask yourself 3 questions. What are they? Number 1, what could you do differently this year? Has there been anything nagging at you, gnawing at you that you wish you had done last year or in your life or that time? A regret, maybe, right? A reservation. God, if I have that chance again, I'll make sure I write it down. Go back to my friend Allie Connor. Write it down. Make a plan and put it in writing. Answer the question and put it in writing. Okay? Think about this. Take the time to think about it because, again, you want to be able to learn because here's the science. When you are speaking from a point of learning, you just sound more confident, right? And here's the easy explanation, okay? When you know something or you've learned something, would you think it's easier or harder to sound confident? Of course, it's easier. And you know what? It's easier simply because you don't have that doubt that's in the back of your mind, right? I'm going to show you a slide in a moment. And part of it in the physical appearance, the fake it till you make it part, we don't want that here. Confidence, speaking with confidence, speaking with clarity, experience, education. Did you learn it? Do you know it? Can you demonstrate it? Right? People on the other side of that, whether you're presenting for business, you need something, you're looking for funding or a grant or an opportunity. I've got two really cool colleagues that are looking in regards to having an art gallery event. When you're speaking to higher ups, you cannot sound like you're guessing or flailing or hoping something works out, right? So, what could you have done differently? The other question you could ask yourself, what do you feel good about from last year? A really simple question. Well, nothing. It is not a beat up session. I promise you this. This is to get yourself rolling. Okay. If you didn't do the plan yet, that's okay. Do it. But you want to have a really simplified way of getting going? Literally sit somewhere, light a candle, put on some music that doesn't distract you, right? That makes you feel good. And think, what did I do last year that was cool? What do I feel good about? You have stuff. By the way, if you can't think of something, and I'm going to say the same thing for all three of these questions. If you feel like you're not in the right bandwidth to answer those questions, to speak proficiently in that matter, ask somebody close to you. They'll know. They'll know. We're not always in the best mood. We're not always at the right point where we can treat ourselves with the kindness and love that we deserve with these sorts of things. So ask somebody close to you. Somebody who wouldn't hurt you, somebody who wouldn't ignore you, somebody who wouldn't just brush this off, right? So again, back to the questions. What could you do differently? It's very similar to the last question. What can you improve upon? Here's the difference, which is I look at what could you do, let's try that again. From your master communicator. What could you do differently or circumstances? How could you have handled a situation? Is there a situation, what could you do differently that has bothered you? In a business setting, in a personal setting, did you handle something not to the best of your ability? And more importantly, you know that. You know it. I really could have said something, or I could have meant it. That's what I mean. Just as importantly, what do you feel good about from this past year? Something you accomplished, something you showed up for, someone you've shown up for. Right? And then what can I improve upon? Here's the difference. What can I improve upon? Skills, tactics, things that I should know. Look, businesses change constantly, and more importantly, they change quickly. So for me, my background, sales, sales management, communications, sales coaching, sales training. The field that I was in the most, broadcast advertising, digital advertising, streaming. That's what I did the most. Advertising, sales, strategy, sales management. That field is only changing every 10 seconds. Now, there's plenty that stays the same. I've had conversations as recently as today where the problems and solutions and roadblocks and hurdles are exactly the same as they were when I started in the field in the mid 90s, right? So that's the part that's maddening. So don't fret that you've either lost time or you can always catch up. But what I'm saying is businesses change. You can't rely on just what you knew. You can't. What happens when you do? You're not taken seriously. When you're not taken seriously, you know you're not being taken seriously. And number three, everyone knows what you're feeling. And what are you feeling? Drop it in the comments. I'll give you one. A lack of confidence. If that's happening and that cycle is happening around you, the last thing you want to sound is unsure. From that old commercial from 1,000 years ago, never let them see you sweat. That's what I mean. So you want to be able to identify, what do I need to learn? I'm going bottom to top. What do I need to learn? Things I feel great about that I could leverage to keep going. And then situations that you feel like you could have handled better, know them. Don't worry. This is information. It's not a beat up session, right? And so when you do that, it puts you in a position to do the following, right? If you have a plan, great. If you've just created answers to those three questions, great. Here's the deal. Take an action. Take an action that's based on something, whether it's an answer to those three questions, whether it is a rough plan that you had put together or a very specific plan that I did. I'm not telling you that to impress you, because if I had done that on my own, it would have been sloppy and incomplete and probably still ongoing. Whereas I had help, and because I had the help of an expert, I was put in a position where I'm now able to just look at the plan, look at the three colors that are in my calendar for my top three priorities. I am not telling you that to impress you. I promise you I'm not. But here's my three colors, which is my three priorities. Pick the most important one. Take an action. Any. Next, you're going to evaluate after taking the actions, not before. Those plans are not an excuse to just go back and plan some more. Tighten up your plans after you're taking action, not before. Take the action. You know why? Because it's better information. You'll sound like we keep talking about. Speaking from experience always makes you sound more confident. I'm showing you the physical image of someone who is exuding confidence. I am not a believer in faking it till you make it in this regard. When there is so much information and your own experience so directly in front of you and all around you. So you want to move forward fast. You want to play some catch up really quickly, knowing full well we're only talking about the 14th of January. So you're not too late to do anything by any stretch of the imagination. Anybody tells you that, just ignore them. Just ignore them. But I'll speak for me, and I'm offering this to you, which is don't use, well, it's only the 14th of January as a reason to continue to coast, as a reason to put things off continually. Because what's going to happen is you're going to realize fast that, oh my God, everyone else is doing this and doing that and flying themselves off to somewhere because they hit their goals, and you're just lost. And do I even have time? Should I even care? And that quitting 2 weeks into your goals becomes much more real. I don't want that to be you. I'm certainly not going to be me this year. It can't be for me. From a personal vantage point, I've leveraged, I just put up earlier, I don't know if anyone saw it, and fine if you didn't. It was a video from 6 years ago where, no, that's not true, 7 years ago, where I had put up the video that I had posted when I was still in corporate ad sales and sales management. I knew something was up with me. I knew something was up. I didn't know what exactly, but I was calling it changes in the air and all that sort of thing. It was my last full year in broadcast ad sales and sales management. It's my last full year in corporate, right? Didn't know it at the time. Certainly wasn't being clairvoyant, but I knew something was up. Something was different. I had to try something new. I wound up launching my company a little over a year after that. Why does that matter? Because it's so much easier to speak from experience. But I don't want anyone just relying on old stories. I learn constantly. I'll make mistakes. Oh my God, constantly. Folks, if you've made mistakes, that's okay. It's information, it's education. The mantra, I keep repeating the same mantra, but it's true. Speaking from an educational standpoint, something I've learned. Speaking from an experience standpoint, something I've done. Measuring that result. Evaluating after the action. Something I've proven. Works or doesn't. You just sound like someone who should be followed, not someone who's just taking a flyer and hoping for the best. Again, the confidence part is what people pay attention to. So for today, I want to leave you with something relatively simple. I'm not dismissing that the beginning of the year is one of the most amazingly great opportunities and overwhelming sometimes at the same time. I have a buddy of mine, I'll never forget. He and I launched our businesses at a very similar time, and he has exploded. I'm nowhere close to the level he is. By the way, neither are most people. If you're familiar with Top Dog Law in where you happen to live, well, then you know of my man, James Helm. And I am name checking him because I love the guy and I love his effort and I love what he did. He was relentless. If you want to compare yourself to these monster successes, it's a good opportunity to beat yourself up. Worse, to give up. So again, today's tips. Is your plan done? My plan for 2025. Is it done? Yes or no? If it isn't done, it needs to be done. Find some free time and get it done, but don't stop what you're doing. The point of the plan is to tighten up and streamline the actions so you're not flailing, all right? Because again, the communications part, the part that I specialize in, comes from clarity, experience, education, right? When you put the plan in, make the plan and put it in writing, it's so much easier to follow. So much easier to follow. And if you don't have the plan, you could ask yourself these 3 questions. What could you do differently? Situational things that occurred that you wish you had done differently. What do you feel good about from the past year? You did good things, I guarantee you, because everyone has. What were they? Name a couple. It's done to make you feel good, right? You're not comparing. Are my good things as good as your good things? Or who cares? They're good things. That's great. And what can you improve upon? What can you learn? What could you teach yourself? Tactics, techniques, right? And then whether it's the makeshift plan that you created from the 3 questions, whether it is the fully realized plan that you created, don't matter. Whatever it is, then you're going to take an action today. Do not wait. First thing tomorrow, nope. How do I know this works? So I created this live training today, right? Literally created it at 1:30 p.m. and posted that it would be available 2:45. Why? Well, maybe I was starting to flounder a little bit and realized, take the action. I have the plan. Just look at it. What could you do? Part of the tactics and of my plan, more live trainings. Do one. So take an action. You'll evaluate the action afterwards. Not, is it a good enough action? Just take the damn thing. Take the action, put it in play when you've got some spare time later this evening. Did that action pay off? Was it what you wanted? Go back and ask the same questions again. What was good about the action? What could you have done better? What could you learn for next time? Tactics, techniques, whatever, right? And then I'll leave you with this, which is the ability to speak with confidence is inherently learned. This is not a you got it or you don't. I promise you. I promise you. It is not a question of an either or. Ali Connor is one of my favorite people, and you're so right. Take the damn action. It's the greatest source of feedback. And when you come at that, thank you, Ali. When you come at that with a sense that the feedback is information, not a beat up, not a face palm. You're like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Jesus. God, no, speaking of which, I kind of heard. Damn. I went hard. Well, it's January, New Year, new me, and I literally just hit myself on the side of the face. But whether don't do that. So now I know, right? I'm coming from a point of education. Don't hit yourself square in the face during a live training. I speak from experience now. Way more confident and a little bit woozy too. But what I will say is this. When you're speaking from a point of clarity, from education, from experience, you sound like you know what you're talking about. Why? Because you are. When you know what you're speaking about and people believe you, know, like, and trust, they're the people that typically can lead business, your own, funding, grants, revenue, whatever it happens to be, leading people, leading a team. Those are the people that are followed, right? It builds your own confidence, and then you help other people and other situations. So there you have it. I want to leave it at this unless anyone has any questions. By the way, thank you for your kind words, Ali, and your crazy great participation. That means a lot to me. Folks, I promise you we will be back. What was my feedback from today? That this worked. Not because I'm all that. It's not that. But it was just that reminder that these techniques are proven. Folks, if you happen to be watching live or on the replay, I'm going to suggest you do one thing, which is there's a ton of information that I happen to have available. Some of it's free, some isn't. You choose, right? I typed the word community into the comments, right? When you see this, copy and paste that word in the comments. I'm going to invite you to my elite all-star communications community. Easy for me to say, right? So what happens in the community? What happens in the community is you will see exclusive trainings. You will see chances like stat sheets, information that I may not be making as readily available on social media. In addition, it's a consolidated point where I work with this group more often. Some trial and error, some great cool things that I get to do that help me when I'm launching courses. There also happens to be in the community an existing free course right now. Top 5 tips to crush your next sales meeting. I probably could have phrased that better to say top 5 communications tips to crush your next opportunity. Doesn't necessarily have to be leading a sales meeting, but it's you want something, you want to get something, you want to influence someone. These tips work great. You type community in the comments now or in the replay, and I will get you the invitation, which gets you as part of the community, the elite all-star VIP communications community. By the way, if I change the wording on that as we go, don't be shocked. But in the meantime, I love that you guys are around for me. It makes me really happy. Anything that I'm able to do to help, you know it. DM me, email me. You know where I am on social media. You found me here today. You keep finding me. And folks, my email address, which is a pretty easy one too. The initials JD at duffinmedia.com. JD at duffinmedia.com. Why not? Dropping it in the comments as well too. So when you see it, you know where to find me. Clients, friends, colleagues. Oh, that's so nice. Bots, when they find my email address, that's okay too. But I'm way more selective in terms of who I let into my community. I'm not just letting every bot who sends me an email. But in the meantime, community Papa John. I love you, Ali. Hey, folks, I love all of you as well, too. I know that sounds a little, I don't know, mushy. But in the meantime, glad I could help. I'm telling you right now, I will be back with more tomorrow. The only difference will be the time determination, but you'll have a heads up. You'll have notice. I like keeping the stuff to a half hour. I don't like tormenting people, but take this with you this afternoon. There is still time left in your day to have impact on you and on someone who matters. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for showing up for me today. John Duffin here, Duffin Media. I'll be back with more tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.